As another year winds down, finishing another collection is getting harder and harder. Hey, what's going on guys? Mike from Retro Collectors. As I'm drawing closer to a full North American Dreamcast set, let's take a look at some of the games I have picked up recently and getting that much closer to a full North American set. Finding Dreamcast games in the wild is a thing of the past. I'm going to be finding a lot of these things either on eBay, Marketplace, or actually some people actually reached out to me and gave me a fantastic deal on a few Dreamcast games. So we're going to start off with NBA Hoops. NBA Hoops is a 3-on-3 basketball game that is far from any simulation basketball games that you may be familiar with. It's a lot like NBA Jam or NBA Showtime that was released on the Dreamcast as well. For those of you who have played NBA Jam, it's along the same lines. You can get on fire, there's a lot of hidden secrets and a lot of things to unlock as far as arenas and players. Next up, Last Blade 2. Last Blade is a two-dimensional fighter that recreates 1864 feudal Japan. Last Blade features one-on-one death matches along with the living and the dead. It features 16 characters, each with awesome customized moves, a weapon selection, and tons of replay value, with 4 hidden characters and upgrades for each weapons in the game. Next up, San Francisco Rush 2049. I always loved the Cruisin' series that was on the N64. San Francisco Rush 2049 was also on the N64. It features 3 modes, race, stunt, and battle mode, 19 tracks, 13 collectible cars, 4-player split screen, and absolutely no load times, which is an amazing feature to have on a system that relies heavily on loading screens. Next up, Prince of Persia. I haven't played any of the Prince of Persias on any of the systems, and I'm really looking forward to digging deep into this one. Prince of Persia features non-stop action combined with addictive puzzle-solving challenges. Next up, Cal the Kangaroo. This actually received a remake on the current gen of consoles, the Switch, the PS4, the PS5, the Xbox, Series S, X, and basically all families of the PlayStation and Xbox. And it seems to have spiked in price since the release of the remake on the current gen consoles. It was gone up significantly. When I was first looking at this, so this was a game that I was watching for a while, it was about maybe $50 to $70. And then once the remake got announced, it jumped up to like $130. I was able to grab this off of eBay, and I paid a little bit more than I wanted to for a game that I was watching for a long period of time, but I didn't want to spend $70 then, and now I had to spend like $120, $130 for this game. But because I'm drawing closer to the Dreamcast North American set, you have to bite the bullet on a lot of these games, and I had to bite the bullet on this one. Next up is a set of things that I was actually messaging a fellow collector and a fellow person who actually finished the Dreamcast collection a while back, and that's Charlie CJR. If you guys are familiar with his YouTube channel, I'll link it down below. I'm sure if you guys watch any retro gaming content, you'll come across CJR once or twice on your playlist. He's got an amazing collection and an amazing person. I actually reached out to him on Instagram, and he gave me a solid deal on Typing of the Dead. And a Sega Sports controller. This is one of the last controllers I need. I'm actually missing the yellow one, which is the North American set of controllers. I have all the variants minus the yellow one and the yellow VMU. This is a sexy looking controller.
You had plenty money, 1922. You let other women make a fool of you. Why don't you do right like some other man?
With the Sega Sports logo on the bottom, and Retro Fighters actually did a copy of one on their Strikers DC variant of controller. They did the solid matte black, and that has actually to coincide with this controller right here. And Typing the Dead, I'm actually looking forward to it. I don't have a typing keyboard yet. I'm looking forward to getting all the peripherals for the Dreamcast, but that's one of the things I still don't have yet. You can still play with controller, but I feel that an actual keyboard will do a lot better than using a controller, and I'm looking forward to actually playing this with the keyboard eventually. Again, thank you very much, Charlie, for giving me this game at a reasonable price. Fantastic creator and fantastic person. Next up is a game that I wasn't too big of a fan of on the N64. I don't like breakneck speed racers, 800 kilometers an hour. I don't like the Wipeout series. I don't like the F-Zero franchise, and I wasn't too big of a fan of the Star Wars Episode 1 racer. It's just too fast. I find that I'm smacking into walls more than I actually want to. This is a game, again, I needed for the collection. This is the last Star Wars game I needed for the collection. Following this price jumped from like $20, and you could find it just about anywhere. And I've actually had to pay about $70 for this, more than I wanted to pay for something like this. But when I first started collecting, it was a game that I found just about everywhere, and I just didn't spend the money then. 6 years or 7 years later, coming across this was a lot harder and spending a lot more than I actually wanted to. Lastly is a set of games on Instagram. A fellow collector was posting their stuff on Instagram, and he flashed a few games, and I was like, that's, you know, it's an amazing collection. Would you consider parting your way with them? You know, how much for each game, basically? And he's, you know, gave me a price, and I'm like, okay, that's a little bit much that I wanted to spend at that point in time. And he's, you know what, don't worry about it. He mailed it out to me, 3 games. I was actually just looking at one of the games. He mailed out all 3, because when I asked him, you know, how much per game, I was really looking at just one. And when I told him that was a little bit out of my price range, he's like, okay, don't worry about it. Here is the 3 games, and for free. I couldn't be more thankful. And that's Industrial Spy Sports Jam. It's a bunch of mini games and mini sports of basketball, tennis, soccer, cycling, football, hockey, baseball. It's got just about everything in this collaboration of games. And last of the ones that they gave me was ECW Anarchy Rules. I'm not a big fan of Acclaim wrestling games, as far as Warzone and Attitude and the other ECW game that was also on the Dreamcast, but this game is actually gone up extremely high in price range. Is about $150 at that point. I think now it's about maybe $120, $130.
Ouch! Nice basic move there.
As 2022's draws to a close, I was able to knock off quite a bit of a library for the Dreamcast this year, and I'm getting down to the final 2 Dreamcast games, not including Sega All-Stars variants, just 2 of the North American release set, and I'm so happy to finally get that close to a full set. What's your favorite Dreamcast game? Please let me know in the comments down below. Please like, comment, subscribe. Thanks, guys.